Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker and our first speaker for the evening session is here to talk about brand trust in a digital world. Trust, the word in Buddhism, is to assume, believe that someone is good, honest, and means no harm. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a person who is absolutely apt to speak about the same. It's time for us to welcome on stage Mr. D. Shivakumar. He's currently the Group Executive President at Aditya Birla Group for Strategy and Business Development. He joined the Aditya Birla Group in January 2018. Before ABG, Shiv was the chairman and CEO for PepsiCo and has also held the position of CEO for India for Nokia. Shiv has been a CEO for half his career and was also one of the youngest CEOs in India. He writes, he teaches regularly on innovation, leadership, business models, digitization, and lots more. This he does across leading business schools in and around the world. Shiv has been awarded the Best CEO, Best Brand Builder awards numerous times. Mr. Shivakumar, sir, may we please request you to kindly join us on stage and share with us the importance about brand trust in the world that we live in. A very warm welcome to you, Shiv.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and it's my absolute pleasure to be here this afternoon. So thank you, Pradeep and IAA for hosting me here this afternoon to speak of a topic which has actually captured my imagination, has fascinated me, and I've thought about it a lot. The subject of brand trust in what I call a dukkha world. I'll explain to you over the next 20-25 minutes what a dukkha world means and what it means for brand marketeers as well as consumers. So, first up, what am I going to cover for you? I will now signal to you that digital is now mainstream. It is not an add-on. Digital is absolutely the mainstream in all communication that we are having with consumers, rather all engagement with consumers. I'll give you the context of digital and how it has changed and shaped consumer behavior. Then we'll talk about examples over the last 2 years of what I have seen big brands make big mistakes. So I have about 8 examples of great brands. I've only taken international brands so that we can take an easy laugh at them. And then I will summarize for you the lessons that I have learned through my experience in digital, building brands, and the experience of these brands which have made mistakes. So first, 2019 is a very special year. For the first time, half the population of the world is on the internet. 51% of the world is on the internet this year. If I take out the 140 million people who are in the 0 to 5 age band, that number goes to 60% of population being on the internet. 36% of the world population is on social media. If I take out the 0 to 5 population, that number goes to 44%. So, social as well as the internet are omnipresent across the world, whether you're a consumer, whether you're a brand marketer. That's the first thing I want to say, an absolute historic thing. Let's look at how big is digital today. Most people, when they think of digital, they think of it as being in the side wings. Let's look at global advertising. If you look at global advertising, digital is $335 billion today, which is 46% of all advertising in the world. If that is not mainstream, I don't know what is. So 46% of all advertising spent globally today is digital. It's been growing at double digit for the last 6 years. It's gone from a salience of 31.5 to a salience of 46 today. In the next 2-3 years, I expect it to be closer to 50 or 60. Now, how does India fare? India is slightly lesser, but the trend line is roughly similar. If you look at the India number, India has $10.2 billion spent this year overall advertising. 2.14 out of that is digital. 2.4 is print. TV is still the dominant medium. So, in the next 2 years, the digital medium will be number 2 in India. This is 2019 data. When we talk of trust, in the pre-industrial revolution, you trusted the retailer or the middleman. We went, we talked to the middleman, we bought products from the middleman, we trusted whatever he told us about the product that he was selling us. Why did we do that? Because there were no brands. Then the concept of the brand came in, which was an economic exchange or value exchange between the consumer and the brand owner. That's what happened to us. It became an economic exercise. That's what happened to us pre-industrial revolution. We trusted the retailer, and then we started trusting the brand. We trusted the brand primarily on account of quality because we had poor experience with the commodity before that. That's what happened. In the digital world, consumers are more aware, more cynical, and more distrusting. When you have too much information, you have too much skepticism. That's true in organizations, that's true in society. Excess information leads to excess skepticism. That's exactly what's happened with consumers and marketeers. So, what is this trust about and where is it going? If you look at 80% of the countries surveyed, 80% of the countries surveyed by Edelman every year, media is distrusted in 80% of the countries. So now, whom do consumers trust? Because media was the guardian whom they trusted. They trusted their family, they trusted their employer, but most of all, they trusted media to tell them the truth. If in 80% of the countries, they believe that media cannot be trusted, now whom do they trust? So we asked that question, and this is the answer. What advertising sources do you trust? People like myself, sources I know, consumer opinion. This is what people tell us today. Why? They do not believe that brands tell them the truth. They do not believe that people in authority tell them the truth. They believe that people like themselves tell them the truth. The average of people liking something and the average of people disliking something, in totality, people say, I can trust that opinion over anybody else's. So this is what people trust today, which is people like me. Social media, very important. Facebook has enormous reach. More than 2 billion people on the planet today are on Facebook. Absolutely enormous reach. Twitter has rapid build-up. If you want anything, any news to be flashed within 48 hours, Twitter is your source. LinkedIn is absolutely fabulous for business linkages. I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm absolutely amazed to see when people put their profiles looking for jobs, looking for a change. It can't be more open than that. I don't know what their employers think of them when they see that. But people are actually so bold and brave there right now. Instagram is absolute outstanding creative storytelling via a picture. Now think about it. 25 years ago, or in India when television started in 1959, television didn't have so many formats. It had one format. The only thing in television was the screen kept increasing and the resolution and the fidelity of the screen kept improving. But with social media, we have an amazing array of options. I talked to information being freely available. That means that brands know a lot about consumers. It also means consumers know a lot about brands and companies. So both are open books. There are no secrets between the two today. If a consumer truly wants to know what is there in a brand or in a company, he will do that. I remember when I was running Nokia from 2005 for a decade. About the year 2008, suddenly I started getting a flood of mails saying I need this help, this service, etc. Then I asked myself, how come everybody knows my email ID? So then I went to Google and checked. And sure enough, somebody had written there, does anyone know Shivakumar's Nokia email ID? And there were 100 people saying, here it is, take it. That's what it is today. If a consumer wants something, he can find it out. That's not a problem at all. So, where is trust going to come, and what do brands need to do? Brands have always thought of their board as being stakeholders, as their shareholders being stakeholders. In a digital world, society is your stakeholder. It is not your board, it is not your shareholders. You have to serve them, absolutely no doubt about it. But society is a larger stakeholder than anything else in a digital world. That is what we are learning repeatedly. So if you need to build trust, you need to build trust in society, not just a narrow band of society. So, every day, businesses face what we call a VUCA world. I believe every day, brands face what I call a DUCA world. It's my expression, a short form to tell you the kind of challenge we have in the digital space. So what does DUCA stand for? This is my acronym, my logic, my IPR I'm putting out for you. DUCA stands for digitally unacceptable content and attitude. Digitally unaccepted content and attitude. Looks simple. Let's look at all the examples of people who have actually lived this and what's happened to them. In the 1980s, we used to celebrate a brand called Benetton. We used to say Benetton has outstanding advertising, which is messaging for society. A few months ago, this is what they did in digital. They said Benetton, they were advertising for kids, boys in the age group 3 to 7, and they put a cheeky headline, which they thought was very funny, saying no girls allowed. They got slammed. Why did they get slammed? People said, hey Benetton, wake up. This is a world where we are appreciating gender diversity. And you are trying to go back in time. Some comments said you're living in the 1980s. It's high time you woke up. Within 48 hours, Benetton had to say sorry and pull back. Next example, the high priest of fashion, Dolce & Gabbana. Stefano Gabbana did this. They released the shoe, and they said, this shoe is for I am thin and gorgeous. Social media. Dolce & Gabbana's co-founder. So somebody tweeted back and replied back to him saying, are you saying that now you are making shoes by body mass index? So this shoe is not for people who are not thin and this thing? Worse, Stefano Gabbana insulted them on Twitter, saying you're idiots, you're morons, you don't know, etc., etc. Again, there was a complete backlash. Again, within 48 hours, they had to take it back. A few months ago, all of us watched the World Cup. Sometimes you wonder how companies can even think in a bizarre way. Okay? Burger King has always been a good brand doing outstanding work. This is from Russia. Russia beat Saudi Arabia 5-0 on day one of the World Cup. Then Burger King advertised saying, hey Russian women, please go date a World Cup or a football personality, have sex with him, produce a baby. If you produce a baby, we'll give you 3 million rubles and whoppers for life. Amazing how anybody can do it in this day and age. Not surprisingly, this promo and advertising got slammed within 48 hours. They said this will build the future of Russian football. That's called talent management, right, in HR terms. Okay, the future of football. The future of Russian football we are securing. Outstanding. Sure enough, they got slammed. Within 48 hours, they had to pull the plug, both on the promotion and the advertising. Both. Let's look at somebody else. Splenda. A number of you don't have sugar with your tea and coffee. You have Splenda. Look at this bizarre example from Splenda a few months ago. They say, fact, food safety authorities around the world have proven Splenda is safe. In the same ad on social media, these guys say, don't believe everything you read on social media. You can't be more stupid than this. This is the height of stupidity. Now, this is what happens in social media because you think you're being very funny, you think you're being very cute. That's one of my lessons. You think it's a quick medium, lets me score a hit with some quick pun or whatever it is. If you are saying don't believe anything which is on social media, why should they believe you, Splenda? The dream of every brand manager is to show his factory. To show his factory in advertising and say, that's my factory, what a wonderful factory. Okay, Schlitz beer said that many years ago when Claude Hopkins said, it's washed with steam water. So, one of the fashion brands took it literally and went to their factory. Unfortunately, garment factories are very different from other factories. This is the end result on Instagram. So, Reformation is the brand, the luxury brand. They show their Goa dress in the factory. What is in that factory? A seamstress stitching a button at the back. Here's a luxury brand worth hundreds of dollars. And people turned back and said, that's a poor lady working in a third world country who's making $2, and you're selling something which is $200, $300. Isn't the inequality of this whole thing so stark? How can you even be doing this? So, in social media, in Instagram, the lesson is optics matter. This contrast is not something that society can bear, which is the point I made about the stakeholder being society. The ultimate one of all is Snapchat. What did Snapchat do? Rihanna was dating Chris Brown, and they had a bust-up. Chris Brown punched Rihanna on the nose. So Snapchat thought, let's run a funny series called Would You Rather? Would you rather slap Rihanna or would you rather punch Chris Brown? And they ran a series of that. Rihanna replied to that saying, are you saying that you stand by family abuse? Is that okay by you? And I know a number of people who are getting off Snapchat. Snapchat lost $800 million in market value in under 24 hours. Now, the size of the company is nothing. Small company. I try to put that in perspective for you. When Volkswagen had the emission problem, they lost $18 billion of market cap. When Toyota had the problem, going for number one, they lost $25 billion in market cap. And here's this tiny company which loses $800 million in market cap over a silly promotion. So, silly work on social media can cost you and your company a lot of value. Next. The other great passion for brand managers and marketeers is, have a picture with my brand, with my packaging. Take a selfie with my product. Send it to me. I'll give you a reward. All the brands are doing it right now. Take it with my packaging. Take it at a particular place where it is sold. Take it consuming it. But send me a picture, a selfie with you and my brand. Okay? A lot of people are doing this. This is what Lockheed Martin did. Lockheed Martin is the world's largest supplier of arms, which means guns, pistols, rockets, etc., bombs. So they also thought, hey, take a picture with any one of our products and send it to us. Okay, imagine taking a gun and taking a picture. Wow, fantastic, Lockheed, I'm with you. So picture of guns. At the end of the 48 hours, somebody sent a picture of a piece of a bomb which was found in a school in Yemen. That's all. A piece of a bomb, which was Lockheed Martin product, found in a school in Yemen. 49th hour, they withdrew the ad. Go back to what I said, society. You're celebrating your product used in war, creates destruction, kills young kids. Got to be careful. Okay, so you have to be extremely sensitive about it. The world's richest man has his own set of troubles right now, as we read in the newspapers. But he had some trouble a few months ago, April of last year. April of last year, he went on a dog sledding holiday in Norway. And that's what he posted. Dog sledding above the Arctic Circle in Norway. Jim Lovell says it's not that you go to heaven when you die, but you go to heaven when you're born. Earth is the best planet in our solar system. Innocuous looking one, right? That's what you'd think. World's richest man. A lot of people reacted saying, you know what? The average person doesn't go to Norway for a holiday. Why are you bloating about this? And then the next volley of comments said, I'm not sure you know Mr. Bezos, but a number of your employees working in Amazon live off food stamps. Okay? He withdrew it. The good news at least is, by October, Amazon raised the minimum salary to $15 an hour, which is what Bernie Sanders promised yesterday when he announced his presidential nomination. So at least the benefit of this gaffe was that at least Amazon employees benefited through a minimum salary. I then looked at Indian work, and let's look at Indian work. Let's look at digital films. What are the top 3 liked digital films in India, and what are the 3 least liked in India over the last 1 year, 18? The top liked one is Samsonite, Kerala is open. Kerala was ravaged by floods. Okay, lovely ad for Samsonite, really bought back Kerala, outstanding ad. Amitabh Khan tweeted it, Virat Kohli tweeted it, Amitabh Bachchan tweeted it. Everybody under the sun tweeted this ad. It's a great film, very emotional, very touching. Number 2 was Samsung. Number 3 was Brilliant Moments, 20 Years of Hyundai. At the bottom, the least 3 liked. Fortis Healthcare, which was about organ donation. A tough topic, not easy. Tough topic. Not received well. Johnson's Baby. I believe the Johnson's hip replacement products would have had a say in that. That's my guess, but I can't validate that. And Google. We think Google knows a lot about us, but clearly their marketeers don't know much about consumers, which is good. Okay? So that's where they are. So they finished third there, third at the bottom. These were digital films, top liked and least liked. When everybody started using digital a few years ago, television was formatted by 20 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds. When we tried digital format films, our first film in PepsiCo was a 9-minute film. And everybody said nobody will watch 9 minutes. It was about going home for Diwali. We got an amazing response by running a 9-minute film. So my big lesson is, if you have a story to tell in digital, length does not matter. People are willing to stick to you. The key is telling the story right. And most people don't tell the story right. If you don't tell a story right, even 10 seconds is no good. Forget 9 minutes. Okay, now let's look at TVCs. Which are the top 3 liked TVCs and the worst 3 TVCs? Number 1 was Swiggy by a long mile. Call me by my name. Number 2 was Hindustan Lever water campaign. Water is the most crucial issue in India. Most Indians and most people do not recognize this. India has 16% of the world's population, but 4% of the world's water. People will kill for water. So anything to do with water is a very emotional issue. And Levers did a great job of that. Third was Kotak 811. The ones which are least liked, Jabong, Samsung Galaxy, and Magnum. These were the 3 least liked TVCs. Now let's look at influencers. The top influencers by followers, not a surprise at all. It's full of Bollywood and cricket. Priyanka, Virat, Salman, Deepika, Amitabh. On Instagram, Priyanka, Deepika, Virat Kohli, Alia Bhatt, Shraddha Kapoor. 36 million for PC, 27 for Shraddha Kapoor. On Facebook, 40 for Priyanka, 30 for Amitabh Bachchan. Now let's look at top influencers by engagement in India. Okay, that list is very different. Top list by engagement means last 100 Facebook posts, last 13 Instagram posts. What was the average engagement of that? That top does not have Bollywood or cricket. Amit, 2 foreigners, Elvish, Nazria, Harsh. On Facebook, it's completely non-Bollywood, non-cricket. In Instagram, it's again Bollywood and cricket. Very pictorial. So it is Virat, Deepika, Priyanka, Anushka, as well as MS Dhoni. Here's a point about influencer marketing. Influencer marketing is about genuine relationships. Like a number of celebrities we view celebrities in advertising, a lot of the celebrities don't use the products. But in this side, people want to know that the influencer is genuinely connected with the product in some way or the other. That's what people look for. Okay? Now, here's somebody who's related to the Kardashians. Okay? He was advertising booty shake. The company sent him instructions saying, please post this at 4 o'clock. This is what you should say. He did a cut-paste job and put exactly that. A number of Indian influencers also do exactly that. So that's when the brand loses trust. When I was at PepsiCo, I used to insist that if you paid an influencer, please write below that this influencer has been paid to tweet this. That is what consumers want to know in a digital world. They do not want to be fooled. If they find out that the influencer has been paid, but you've not disclosed it, they're pretty livid at you. That's what I've realized. So, what are my lessons for all of us? I picked 9 lessons. Number 1, collective experience is the dominant force. It is not about individuals. On the digital platform, people behave like a herd. They believe in collective expression. Imagine a union in the digital space. That's what consumers are. They formed a union. Next, when people, there are people such as Piyush in the audience here, when they developed advertising in the past, they never bothered about the company culture and what was in the company. They only spoke of the brand and what it stood for and what it meant to the consumer. But in a digital world, culture and speed of the organization is extremely important. Because if there's a disconnect between what you're saying and the way the company behaves, you get hit very hard in the digital world. Next, the speed of response in a digital world, through all the examples I've given you, is 48 hours. In the physical world, we could wait for 9 months and nothing happened to us. In the digital world, in 48 hours, you need to make up your mind one way or the other. Either you need to build it up, or you need to step back with humility. Third, big point in the digital world and advertising, ethical versus legal. All legal action is not ethical, but all ethical action is legal. And that is what you really need to think about. Because society is your stakeholder. Go back to the example of the bomb in the school in Yemen. Go back to the example of the wage issue with Jeff Bezos' tweet, etc. So you have to be more ethical than anybody else as a brand when you think about the issues that you're going to talk about. Funnily enough, in the social world, we still find that heritage has great value. Brand heritage contributes a lot to brand trust if you can do it well. One of the examples I showed you was Hyundai celebrating 20 years. So heritage still has a big value. Do not underestimate it. Reliability, however boring you are, is a big prize. If you're boring, you're dull, steady, but very reliable, that is the foundation of trust. Where does the problem start? The problem starts here, with data. What do consumers expect of data? They expect you to tell them why you are collecting the data, what you will use it for, and what you will not use it for. That's what they want to know. Privacy is a very, very big issue. And here, I'm part of the ASCII. I don't think marketers are recognizing that self-regulation is good. If we do not self-regulate on the digital platform also, I assure you, I guarantee you, I promise you, the regulator and government will draw the line. Then there's no point as marketeers to cry about it. Then you're crying over split milk. So I make a fervent appeal to all of you. Get into self-regulation before. Most governments are drawing the line. I'm sure you've read what the Europeans are planning to do to the social media companies. They will draw the line. It's important for brands to self-regulate themselves in this world. What does data breach cost us? It costs us about 3.3% of GDP. Last year, it cost us 3 trillion data leak issues. Banks, everybody, big challenge. Number 7, it's not important just for you to have a transparency code. It's also important for your ecosystem, people you work with, to have the same transparency code. If the whole ecosystem you're working with does not help you, then you are in trouble. You'll be like this lone boy on the burning deck, with the others not in line. So your ecosystem is just as important to be on the same platform as you. Next, have very clear social media posting guidelines. I mentioned to you that social media is fun, it's quirky, it's daily. You can technically have 365 creatives. That's the advantage of social. So people tend to take a lot of shortcuts and take a lot of pot shots. Be very careful. Please have some guidelines within your brand for this. And finally, be very careful of asking junior people to handle your handles. A lot of CEOs do this. They give the job to some junior guy to say, okay, you manage the handle. Big challenge. December 2013, the Supreme Court ruled in the gay sex matter. One of the boys of the PepsiCo agency had a cell phone. He had his screen, and the PepsiCo screen was next door. He thought he was on his screen, and as soon as the judgment was out at 11 o'clock, at 12 o'clock he tweeted, "The Supreme Court is so gay." That's what he said. Luckily, we caught it within an hour. Okay, we scrapped it. We went to the Supreme Court. We bowed and said, "We are very sorry." The boy didn't get fired. He continued with his job. But the point is, I could have got fired. Think about it. Okay? When you delegate it to the junior most guy, these are the kind of issues you face. So, in summary, with 36 seconds to go, 51% of the people are on the internet, never before. There are dropping trust levels with too much information. Consumers trust people like me, that's what they say. Society is the stakeholder for all brand and brand-related trust. We have learned a number of lessons watching the gaffes of the brands before us. They were all big brands, smart brands, run by smart people. But in the attention grabbing game, in the pursuit of being funny and quirky, they've made these mistakes. So if you want brand trust, think about it very deeply, be careful, but most important, have fun. Because digital can give us so much creativity that we've never thought about before. 10 years from now, I think it'll be a very different game. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It was an absolute pleasure putting this together for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Yadav.